If you want to get people to be invested, take their money and then give Brock Lesnar the WWE Championship. You should not be mad at this, because this creates such a perfect story. I said that Big E's title reign was really not that bad, was not good in my eyes. It was kind of a boring title reign for me. It wasn't entertaining for me. And for myself, I thought it was the right thing for Big E to drop the title. I still full-heartedly feel that WWE did the right thing of taking the title off of Big E. Because, let's be honest, it felt like another title reign. It felt like just another title reign. Like Kofi Kingston's title reign. But less in the days and with the same kind of matches that Kofi had. Pretty decent, but not into the heights of what the WWE Championship is supposed to be. So you give the title to a very good security blanket. You make a profit on another big story heading into WrestleMania. And you just work your magic. WWE starts 2022 with Brock Lesnar as the WWE Champion. My God. I love this for so many reasons. But first and foremost, let me do a breakdown of the entire pay-per-view in its spectrum, in its spectacular kind of mixed bag turned into like, it was a gem that turned into a cracked stone, then the stone kind of healed up, and then just shined like a freaking diamond in the rough. My Lord have mercy, what an event that day one was. Because the opening match and the main event are the two key matches that probably is going to take the cake for everyone on the show. And probably the Raw Tag title match, but we'll get to that later. Starting off with the pre-show. First off, Ridge Holland's nose got freaking busted badly. Like, very badly. Hopefully he recovers well. He's had a lot of bad luck in his time in WWE. I mean, had a leg injury that was so gruesome. Now he gets called up to the main roster. He didn't get enough time in NXT. Gets called up to the main roster. Suffers a broken nose. By Aaron Booth, that wasn't Ricochet's fault. It was a spot going wrong. It happens all the time. Let's not blame Ricochet or Cesaro or anybody involved. Obviously, it was an accident. But pretty decent tag match turned handicap match. And Sheamus, of course, like I've said, he's the MVP of WWE. He's been handling himself super well and had a pretty good showing in tonight's tag turned handicap and won the match for him and Ridge Holland, because I thought Cesaro and Ricochet weren't really going to get the win at that point. We got first the Smackdown tag team title match. Woo, you know that you were going to get a classic from the Usos and the New Day. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, just to be exact. But that match was beyond spectacular. I felt invested throughout the entirety of the match. It was move after move after move. There was like so many close calls. I thought, for instance, like New Day was going to win the tag titles at some point, but then Usos just kept going at it back and forth. The double splash that turned into a kick out, and then the Usos hitting 3D/1D, one and done. I like that name that Pat McAfee came up for it. That's a really good name. And the Usos retaining, that was fun. That was a fun match. Match of the night. If it wasn't for the main event, if I'm being honest. If it wasn't for the main event, it would be match of the night. But, on to the next match. Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss. Riddick Moss actually showed some promise. He's pretty decent in the ring. But we all knew Drew was going to win, so it didn't matter. Anyways, Riddick / Madcap, pretty decent showing for him. Not bad, but honestly didn't care too much for it. We knew what the outcome was going to be from the set point out. Like we already knew. The Raw Tag Title match, Street Profits versus the RK Bro, very fun. I was pretty interested in it a little bit, and the finish with Riddle tossing up Montez in the air with Randy catching him for a spectacular RKO. That was fun. Migos was out at ringside. It wasn't bad. That wasn't too bad. It was pretty enjoyable. I pretty much thought the match wasn't bad. It could have been a little bit better in spots, but hey, I'm not too disappointed in it. I liked the match. It wasn't shameful. It wasn't not shameful. It wasn't too bad. It could have been better. Edge versus The Miz, story-wise, not bad. Obviously, it wasn't the best match of the night. Could have been a little bit more better in the ring, but we all know The Miz isn't a technically sound wrestler in the ring, like Edge, or like Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, or even Randy Orton. But it was a nice match, pretty solid, and like I said, story-wise, with now Beth Phoenix into the equation, it equals a huge WrestleMania program, most likely, with the husbands and the wives. Basically, Nikki, Cena, Miz, Murray's 2.0. But this time, real life married couples. Interesting. Edge got the win. I'm not too disappointed by that. I thought The Miz was going to win via cheating, which almost happened, but it's fine with me. And, Beth Phoenix with her hair all going crazy and wild. I can't wait to actually see that mixed tag match on the grandest stage. Should be a nice little thing for the crowd to watch and see. Should be fun. And I'm going to be very invested into the rivalry with the promos that are going to occur throughout the next several weeks. And most likely we'll have a Royal Rumble spot with Miz and Edge, and then Beth Phoenix and Maryse in the same ring, probably within the next number of weeks. It should be fun, to say the least. Beth Phoenix versus Liv Morgan. I don't disagree with Beth Phoenix versus Liv Morgan. Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. I don't disagree with Becky Lynch retaining. It was obviously the right call. Liv Morgan, like I said, just needs a little bit more time. She's this close, just another couple weeks to get her built up as a top challenger. I don't think she needs another rematch at the title. I think you put a new challenger ahead of Becky Lynch and you give her somebody new, somebody fresh. As Liv enters into the Royal Rumble, she can lose the Rumble match, win the Chamber match, build up a nice story within the next weeks in order for her to get the match to get the moment that she desires on the grandest stage, that is WrestleMania. And then finally, oh my, that fatal 5-way. Big E, Seth, KO, Bobby, Brock. Meaty fucking glory. What a match. Honestly, for the short duration that it had, it was perfect. It didn't need to go on too long, and it didn't need to be too short. Everybody got their moves in. Seth and KO worked great. Bobby was amazing. Big E was great. Brock Lesnar, equally great. I mean, we got Suplex City. We got KO and Seth working together as a cohesive unit. Bobby was a beast. Big E was a beast. Everything in between. It was perfect. My match of the night right there. And Brock Lesnar winning the WWE Championship is not a bad thing. Here's why. Because we know that we're not going to get The Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 38. That's most likely going to happen at 39. There's two ways that WWE can go at this. One, the obvious. Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley one-on-one. Night 1 main event. Because I can't be on the same night as a Reigns match. Or, number 2, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, winner take all, title for title. Hear me out on this one. It's nice that the WWE Championship is being featured in a very high profile. And the Universal Championship is glorious. Well, the Universal Championship ain't glorious, but the title reign of Roman Reigns with the Universal Championship has been spectacular. Perfectly well booked. You can have a night one match with... You have night one where, for instance, they could take a page out of New Japan Pro Wrestling. With night one featuring the 2 titles on the line in singles matches, Brock, Bobby, Roman, and whoever faces him. And then night 2, you can book the title for title match. Combine the 2 titles. 1 world championship, because there's not that many contenders on each show, if we're being honest. You combine those 2, you build one of the biggest stories on the world. You can build the biggest story in the company. The biggest story in the company and the biggest match of the year. The biggest match in the last 10 years. Because who wouldn't want to see the WWE and Universal Championships held by one person? Roman Reigns, if he can get that story, if he can solidify himself as the ultimate boss within WWE by holding both the WWE and Universal Championships. The Universal title, for me, is just another prop. The WWE title is the be-all, end-all. It still is, even with the downward booking that it's had for the last number of years. The WWE title is the most prestigious championship in the history of wrestling. It still is to this day. It's not the AEW title. It's not the IWGP World title. It's not even the Impact title. It's the WWE Championship. The Universal title is trying to reach it, but it's still missing in the sense of richness and glory. You put the WWE Championship on Roman Reigns, along with the Universal title that he may never lose, Roman becomes the ultimate god within the company that nobody can topple. And you got the bloodline. You got the Usos, who can possibly go for a title per title thing on WrestleMania main show as well. The bloodline becomes a solidified unit, a solidified boss with all the titles. You get a female person in there like Naomi. She can hold the Smackdown and Raw Women's Championship. She becomes the ultimate boss within the women's division. The Usos become the ultimate boss within the tag team division. And then Roman Reigns becomes the ultimate boss within the entire company. My mind is racing with so many things, with so many ideas. And I love it. I love the fact that, WWE can go so many different directions. And I feel like I don't know which direction they're going to go in, but it makes perfect sense to go in one of those 2 directions. Roman Reigns, the ultimate boss, the bloodline, the ultimate group that cannot be stopped. Or the biggest match for either Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley on the biggest stage in WrestleMania in Dallas, Texas, probably in front of 100,000, maybe a combined 200,000 in 2 nights. There's so much you can do. I hope WWE goes in the direction of title for title, the undisputed WWE champion. I hope they go in that direction, so that way we can see the story of who can really beat Roman, and he can reign for a long, long time as like the unstoppable force in that company, because he's the best damn thing in wrestling. It's not Hangman, it's not Kenny, it's not Christian, nobody. Not even nobody in New Japan or Impact Wrestling. It is still Roman Reigns. And I wish for just a quick and speedy recovery for Roman. Because he got struck with COVID. Goddamn Omicron. got in the way of the main event. But, and even with that, you can bring back Paul Heyman. He can be that little side piece on either Roman's neck or Brock's neck. And if you bring him back for that title unification match at WrestleMania, with him playing that, what am I gonna do? Playing the side of Brock Lesnar, being on Brock Lesnar's side and then turning on Roman Reigns, or still being struck by just grief of being kicked out of the bloodline and helping Brock Lesnar beat Roman. It is still going to equal an immense reaction. I cannot wait. I literally cannot wait for WrestleMania. I can't wait to see what happens within the next number of months leading into the event. I can't wait for the Royal Rumble. I can't wait for Elimination Chamber. I can't wait for the next number of months to occur up until April in that time period. It's going to be so fun. So don't overreact just yet. Don't overreact of the fact that Brock is WWE Champion again. I'm already seeing the reactions of, oh my God, why is Brock Lesnar WWE Champion? Why is Brock the champion again? Why do you have to beat Big E clean? Why do you have to pin Big E? Why is Kofi Kingston and Big E on the receiving end of Brock Lesnar F5s and being on the other side? We got Drew McIntyre, which was awesome. Now you could get a potential Bobby or even final boss match. I don't know. One way or another, this WrestleMania season is going to be fucking epic. Peace. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you all tomorrow for Wrestle Kingdom predictions.